Welcome to Homeschooling. This presentation is about the difference between crisis schooling and homeschooling, and a brief overview of what homeschooling is. Crisis schooling versus homeschooling. With crisis schooling, there was a holiday and then lockdown began. There was no preparation, it wasn't anybody's choice, there was no time to research. It was a panicked rush to try and get the work to the kids. There was no time to do school, and the only option is school at home. With homeschooling, parents were prepared. It was their own choice. They took the time to research. It was more relaxed. They could de-school, and they had plenty other choices. So what is homeschooling? Well, what it's not about is curriculums. More times we are finding people asking, what is the best curriculum? There is no best curriculum. What you should be asking is, what is the best education for your child? Now, this can be a multitude of different things. It's not about the tests, exams, and assessments, and it's definitely not about the grades. What it is about is an education that is engaging for the child. This means an education that sparks interest, that makes the child want to learn. It's about mastering a topic. A teacher needs tests, exams, and assessments to gauge a class of 30 plus kids on what the average knowledge on the topic is. If there are children behind, the teacher cannot wait for them to catch up. Teacher needs to move on. With home education, you are one-on-one with your child. This means you can see when your child is struggling with a topic. What you can then do is stop, take a few steps back, and concentrate on covering that topic so that the child can master the topic before moving on. Home education is about working at a child's pace. With grades, you have an average of what the child should know for that grade. There is no average child. You get children that excel in languages and you get those that excel in maths. With home education, you can take their weaknesses, work on it at a slower pace in order to begin mastering it, and their strengths, you can run with it and they can do more. It's about character building for success. Many believe a university degree is the road to success. Nothing can be further from the truth. If the child does not have the character, the responsibility, and the grit to push through in life, they can have the highest qualification in the world and still not be successful. I know I mentioned curriculum is not about homeschooling, but I needed to include this here. With crisis schooling, you are limited to the curriculum the school used. This can be CAPS, Montessori, or Cambridge, depending on the school. With home education, you have a wider choice of curriculums. You also have a choice to drop the traditional curriculums and do a method with your child. The options can be CAPS, Montessori, Cambridge, an American curriculum. Some have started using an Australian curriculum. Or it could be the methods such as eclectic, Charlotte Mason, classical, project-based, Waldorf, child-led, and really many, many more. Of all the options for homeschooling, which option will get them into university or integrate them back into mainstream? This is a common question and a common fear for all parents. The what if? I can tell you now, all roads lead to Rome. Some just have a few extra pit stops along the way. Integration back into mainstream, grade R to 9. Now I include grades here because anything after grade 9 or after the age of 15, it's a whole different ballgame. For public school, the law states that no school is allowed to discriminate against any child due to previous education, and the child will be enrolled in the grade corresponding to their age. This means that a child, even with no schooling, has to be accepted. You do not need reports or proof of previous education in order for a public school to accept your child. I need to add here that that will depend on place. In Gauteng alone, we are short over 230 schools. Place is limited, and if there's no space, your child will not be accepted. Semi-private school. Now, this is the grey area. Some will follow public schools and uphold the law, and others will follow private schools. Private schools, they will require a placement test. Now, this can be either done through the school at their cost, or they will insist that you do it through an educational psychologist at your own cost. They will be placed in the highest grade passed on the placement test. I would suggest, no matter which school you're looking into, to have a placement test done by an educational psychologist in order just to make the process a lot smoother. University acceptance. Many believe that once you've gotten your school leaving certificate, you automatically will be accepted in a university. You won't. It's dependent on marks, it's dependent on a lot of different things. It's dependent on the university, the degree applying for, and even on the child. Some children do not want university degrees or need university degrees. We need artisans, we need plumbers, we need mechanics. Think of it this way. The top surgeon in the world, if their car breaks down on the side of the road, they cannot do a thing. They need a mechanic. The three most popular school leaving options is CAPS, Cambridge, and GED. These three will get you into some universities for some degrees. You need to do your research. When your child reaches the age of 14, 15, you have to start looking at the universities if that's the path your child is going to take. For CAPS, in order to get a matric certificate, you need grade 10, 11, and 12. For Cambridge, it's a combination. You need to do research into which combination and groupings will get you a foreign exemption in order to be able to attend a university. For GED, the child must be 17, know American history as well as the metric system. Some universities will require SATs to be done, and others not. Now, you need to really do your research very well here. If your child is looking at a medical degree, there are certain school leaving certificates that will not be accepted. I need to add here that a university or future employer will never ask when the applicant started to read or require the report for grade 5, term 3, or want to see the assignment done in grade 8, term 2 science. They don't care if you did a geography in grade 7 and dropped it in grade 10. They just want a school leaving report to show the highest qualification passed. This means no matter what education, what path, what method, schooling or no schooling you do with your child before the age of 14, you can still go and get a school leaving certificate and get a university acceptance. It's still possible. Crisis schooling expectations and homeschooling realities do have their similarities. But with homeschooling, you can take a break when you need to and have a wider range of resources available. There is less pressure and many more rewards. I hope this presentation has helped somewhat with the differences between crisis schooling and homeschooling and given you some idea of what homeschooling is about.